Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. Before you even arrive at school, you've already received dozens of messages, notifications, group chats, videos, news, announcements, advertisements. Every message competes for your attention. But here's the real question. How do you know which information actually matters? How do you separate the important message from everything else? That skill is called extracting the main point. It's the ability to cut through the noise and discover what a message is really trying to say. Welcome to Effective Communication. Today, we're learning how to extract the main points from spoken, written, and multimodal texts. Every day, we make decisions based on the messages we receive. A teacher gives instructions. A friend shares a concern. A community leader makes an announcement. A news reporter covers an important event. But if we focus only on the details, we may completely miss the real message. Effective communicators know how to identify what is truly important. Think about making fresh fruit juice. You don't drink the peel. You don't drink the seeds. You remove everything unnecessary and keep what matters. Extracting meaning works the same way. Every conversation, every article, every video contains extra information. Your job is to identify the central idea hidden beneath all those details. Supporting details are helpful. They explain, they describe, they provide evidence, but they are not the main point. The main point answers one simple question. What is this message really about? Let's look at a situation. Anna is excited to share an idea with her friend Bea, but while Anna is speaking, Bea keeps looking at her phone. Anna stops talking. Later that evening, Anna sends Bea a message. I felt hurt when you kept looking at your phone. Now think carefully. Is this message really about smartphones? Or is Anna trying to communicate something much deeper? Take a moment to think. What is Anna really trying to say? Pause the video if you'd like. We'll examine this same situation several times throughout today's lesson, each time using a different communication lens. When we listen to someone, it's easy to focus only on the words they say, but communication is much richer than words alone. Sometimes, the most important meaning is found in a person's voice, pauses, or even silence. This is why effective communicators practice active listening. Active listening means giving someone your complete attention, not preparing your reply while they're still speaking, but genuinely trying to understand what they mean. Let's return to Anna's conversation. Imagine hearing her say, I guess, it's okay. The words suggest that she's fine, but listen closely to her voice. She speaks softly. She pauses before answering. She avoids eye contact. Those clues tell a different story. She's probably not okay at all. Sometimes, tone communicates more than words ever could. When listening to spoken communication, don't ask only, what did the speaker say? Also ask, how did they say it? But not every message is spoken. Sometimes, the clues are hidden inside written text. Let's switch lenses. Imagine reading a long article online. At first, everything seems equally important, but experienced readers know exactly where to begin. They search for the topic sentence. The topic sentence introduces the central idea of a paragraph. Everything else supports or explains that main idea. Finding it is often the fastest way to understand the author's message. Supporting details are important because they provide explanations, examples, and evidence. But remember, supporting details answer how. The main point answers, what is this really about? Good readers know which information to keep and which information simply provides context. Let's return to Anna's message. I felt hurt when you kept looking at your phone. Now ask yourself, what is the real focus? Is it the phone or is it Anna's feelings? The phone is only the situation. The real message is about feeling ignored and disrespected. We've examined how messages are spoken and how they're written. But there's another question every effective communicator should ask. Why was this message written in the first place? Every writer has a purpose. Some writers want to summarize information. Others analyze ideas. Some combine different sources to create a new understanding. Others evaluate and make judgments. When you know the writer's purpose, finding the main point becomes much easier, because purpose tells you where the author wants your attention to go. So far, we've learned three important questions that skilled communicators ask. How was the message delivered? What is the main idea? Why was the message created? These questions help us move beyond simply reading or listening. They help us understand. But communication doesn't always come as spoken words or written text. Often, words, images, sounds, and videos work together to create meaning, and that requires an entirely different lens. So far, we've listened to messages, we've read messages, but in today's world, many messages don't rely on words alone. Think about the last video you watched on TikTok, or a Facebook post that caught your attention, or even a campaign poster in your community. Without realizing it, you were already reading images, music, colors, and camera angles. Let's discover how. These are called multimodal texts. The word multimodal simply means using multiple modes of communication together. Instead of relying on words alone, multimodal texts combine images, sound, movement, text, and sometimes even music to communicate one message. That's why understanding a video requires more than reading captions. It requires reading everything. Here in the Philippines, multimodal communication is everywhere. A Sinulog festival vlog, a Department of Health public service announcement, a graduation AVP, a tourism advertisement, even the announcements shown during school assemblies. Every one of these combines visuals, sound, and words to influence how we understand the message. But have you ever wondered why one image catches your attention before everything else? That's where visual grammar comes in. Just as written language has grammar, visual communication has its own grammar. Visual grammar helps us understand why certain images make us feel inspired, worried, hopeful, or even uncomfortable. Designers, photographers, filmmakers, and advertisers intentionally use these techniques to guide our attention. The first idea is called salience. Salience simply means what stands out first. Your eyes naturally go somewhere before anywhere else. That isn't an accident. Color, size, contrast, placement all work together to guide your attention. Another important clue is the camera angle. Imagine taking two photos of the same person. In the first photo, the camera looks down from above. The person appears smaller, weaker, perhaps even lonely. Now imagine taking another photo from below. Suddenly, the same person appears taller, stronger, more confident. The person didn't change, only the camera angle did. And yet, our interpretation changed completely. The third clue is framing. Framing determines what the audience sees and what they don't. A close-up makes us feel emotionally connected. A wide shot may make someone appear distant or isolated. The frame silently tells us what deserves our attention. Let's return to Anna one more time. This time, not as readers, not as listeners, but as viewers. Watch carefully. Notice that the camera stays at eye level. This creates a feeling of equality. Neither Anna nor Bea appears more important than the other. Now listen to the background music. A soft acoustic guitar quietly plays. The music doesn't tell us what happened, it tells us how to feel. Finally, notice the message on the screen. Respect begins with listening. Placed directly in the center, it immediately becomes the most important visual element. Every decision, the camera, the music, the text, works together to communicate one clear message. Respect begins with listening. Notice what just happened. We didn't change Anna's message. We changed the lens we used to examine it. First, we listened. Then, we read. Now, we analyze the visuals. Every lens revealed something new, and together, they helped us understand the message more deeply. By now, you've learned that meaning doesn't come from words alone. Sometimes it's hidden in a pause, sometimes it's found in a sentence, and sometimes it's communicated through a single image. But there's one final piece of the puzzle. Even when two people see the same message, they may not understand it the same way. Why? Because every person views communication through the lens of their own experiences and culture. Let's explore that next. So far, we've explored three different ways to uncover meaning. We've listened carefully, we've examined written texts, and we've learned to read images and videos. Now it's time to put everything together into one simple kit you can use whenever you encounter a new message. Instead of carrying books, they're carrying the communication toolkit. Different types of communication require different strategies. When listening to spoken texts, pay attention to tone, pauses, and silence. When reading written texts, look for the topic sentence and supporting details. When analyzing multimodal texts, observe what stands out, how the scene is framed, and how visuals and sound work together. Think of these strategies as tools. You don't use every tool all the time. You choose the one that best fits the situation. Imagine trying to fix every problem with only a hammer. That wouldn't work very well. Communication works the same way. A strategy that works for a speech may not work for a video, and a strategy for reading an article may not help you understand someone's emotions. Effective communicators know which tool to use. They carry it with them and use it wisely. But even with the right tools, there's one more factor that shapes meaning. You. You are part of the message. Every person brings something unique into every conversation. Our family, our community, our experiences, our beliefs. Together, these form what communication experts call our cultural schema. A cultural schema is the knowledge and experiences we've developed throughout our lives. It influences how we understand the messages we receive. Imagine showing the same picture to 5 different people. Each person might notice something different. Not because someone is wrong, but because each person has different experiences. Communication is not simply receiving information, it is constructing meaning, and culture helps shape that meaning. Let's bring this idea closer to home. How does culture influence communication here in the Philippines? In the Philippines, many of our interpretations are shaped by cultural values. For example,
Pakikisama,
reminds us to value harmony within a group,
kagandahang loob,
encourages kindness and genuine concern for others. Respect for elders influences the way we speak, listen, and respond. These values don't just influence our behavior, they also influence what we notice as the main point of a message. Imagine reading a community announcement asking young people to lower the volume of their music during the evening. At first, you might think the message is simply about noise, but through a Filipino cultural lens, the deeper message is about consideration for neighbors, respect for older community members, and maintaining harmony within the barangay. Culture helps us recognize messages that may not be stated directly. By now, you've learned that extracting meaning involves much more than reading or listening. First, you consider the communication medium. Then, you identify the speaker's or writer's purpose. Next, you analyze important clues. Finally, you recognize how culture influences interpretation. These tools work together to help you discover the message that truly matters. You've learned the tools. You've practiced using them. Now it's time to put everything together. Can you uncover the true message hidden inside a real communication example? Let's find out.